Stephen Arnold was born sometime between 1717 and 1729, but his place of birth is not known. He first appears on the scene as a settler in what was then Augusta County, Virginia, now Rockbridge County, named after the famous natural bridge between Lexington and Roanoke, Virginia. You can almost throw a rock from the natural bridge to where Stephen Arnold settled, about 1.5 miles as the crow flies. Histories of the counties differ on the exact date Stephen Arnold came. Some say 1745, others as early as 1742, but they agree that he was in his early 20s and that he was the first settler in the area below the James River. Thus, the 3 by 4 mile area surrounded by 4,000-foot peaks became known as Arnold's Valley and continues to be called Arnold's Valley to this very day. Another Virginian was born around the same time as Stephen, George Washington. In fact, maps show Washington took a tour through the Fork of the James, the name of the region in which Stephen Arnold settled, while Washington was inspecting his militia forts during the French and Indian War in 1756. Washington, of necessity, would have had to cross over the natural bridge during his journey. That's the road that is now Virginia Highway 11. Stephen Arnold traversed that road and used the natural bridge many times in his journeys as well. It's even possible that Washington was in the area years before. Legend at Natural Bridge says that the father of our country carved his initials there as an early surveyor. Property records of the day show Stephen Arnold owning around 1,000 acres at one time or another in the Rockbridge County area. Poindexter says the area abounded in trout, was plentiful in deer, elk, wild turkey for hunting. Predators included bears, wolves, panthers, lynx, foxes. We have very little biographical information on Stephen, but Poindexter says he was named a constable, the policeman of the day, in 1753. The abstracts of Augusta County show him in a favorable light in that he was appointed a guardian to Mary Reynolds, who was left an orphan. However, that same history notes that Stephen Arnold was imprisoned for debt in 1766. Nothing else is said, but it should be mentioned that debtor's prison was rather common in the day, and even the country's richest man, Robert Morris, found himself incarcerated for a time and was paid visits by President Washington. Stephen Arnold was married to Jane Finney, of whom we have absolutely no other information. Poindexter notes that she, quote, was necessarily of that pioneer woman type, which is more or less than obscure and nameless, but nevertheless of paramount influence in shaping the character of our nation.